Hi friends, this is Loli. Today we will be crafting fall and Christmas. I'm not ready to give up fall yet. How about you? Let me know. So we will be using these little ornaments from the Dollar Tree for our first DIY. The first thing that I do is remove all the embellishments and remove all the glue from the surface because we will be redoing this piece. I'm going to be needing a space that is clear and flat. So just try to take off as much of that paper as you can and sand it down so we have a nice and smooth surface to work with. Once that is done, I'm making sure that I remove the hanger off of it. I wanted to reuse it, so I didn't want to cut it. And I'm going to give this whole piece a coat of my chiffon cream Rust-Oleum chalk paint. And I think I did a couple of passes. Yes, I gave it about 2 coats and sanding in between. While those two dried, I did that with both of the pieces. Once that was drying, I was working on these little signs. I didn't really like the glitter that was on there. So what I did, I just went over it with my sanding block and removed the glitter. And in the process, I also was able to make this a little bit distressed. So I loved it the way that it was. I didn't do anything else to this part other than remove all the glue. So once I am repositioning it on my little ornament there, it will be a flat surface still. Now that my ornaments are dry, I will be using this apple barrel paint in the color chestnut, and I'm going to be painting the little hat section of my little scarecrow there. I gave it just 1 coat, and while the paint was still wet, I took some of my chiffon cream color and mixed it in there just so it would look more like straw, and it had a little bit of a texture to it. We will be reusing also the raffia that came with it, but I'm going to make the hair a little bit shorter than it was while making sure that my straw remained in the inside of the board. I didn't want it to look you can see it from the back of it because we'll be using the back for another DIY. Here I gave it a little bit of short bangs. I just left a little bit of the straw showing for the bangs for this one. So first I started with the longest sections. I just glued each 2 of the little raffia parts to the sides there. And then we will be doing the bang section. I did want it to be like a, I don't know, layered hair. So that's what I went with, and now I am adding the middle section as a bang. Just leaving a little bit of raffia sticking out because you will be putting the hello sign right on top of that section right there. Just try to do your best that you do not go out and then you end up with raffia above in the area where the hat is. I did that, as you can see right there. So I had to lift up my raffia and trim it down so it did not show above my hat there. I did want a clean cut there. So you'll see me here lifting and trimming as I go in order to ensure that it did not show once I put my Harvest Blessing sign over the raffia. Once I was happy with it, I applied hot glue to the entire section and placed my Hello Harvest or my Harvest Blessing wording to the top there. And I was pretty happy with how it ended up. Now we will be making our little face. So, you know, the eyes are the windows to the soul, they say. So I kind of made like little arch window eyes on there, drew a little bit of eyelashes to the corners, and went over it with my pencil first because I wasn't sure exactly what I was doing. I watched a couple tutorials before this, but for some reason my eraser messed up everything as I was trying to correct a minor mistake. So I just went over it with some more paint, and I dried it really quickly with my heat gun, and I'm going to try one more time to create the little eyes. So here I was happy with it. So I'm tracing the inside, so just did a tiny little archway in the inside of the eye. That's going to be the iris, and a circular angled triangle in order to make the little nose and the mouth a regular little smiley face, but I just did some stitching by crossing back and forth with my pencil there. So now I will be using my Artisa paint pen to trace the eyes, and the entire face that I created there. I was having a little bit of hard time with this pen here. I kept pumping it and nothing was coming out, and then it was like going off in the sides all the paint will be, but it will not go to the tip. So here you see me struggling with that part. I'm not sure if there's something going on with my Artisa paint pen. If there's something that I'm doing wrong here. I thought I'd follow the directions, but for some reason my tip wasn't working very well. But the paint was just staying towards the middle of the tip there. If you have any tips on how to fix this, I will truly appreciate it that if you help me out with that, because I am not sure what's going on here. Around this section, I kind of got the hang of it because I had a little puddle of the ink fall in one spot, so I just kept dipping into that spot and going over the areas that I needed the ink to go to. So I just kind of use it like an old-time ink pen at this point. It worked, you know, it got the job done, but in the future I would like to see what's wrong. So here I'm searching for a different color that I can use for the eyes. I wanted the eyes to kind of match the fringe of the hat there. So I went with this green paint, and what I did is I just colored in the arch that I made inside the eye and just filled it in with that color. Now we are going to be filling in the nose. I decided to use this little like a burnt orange paint pen and just filled in the nose there. Now I dipped the top of my little paintbrush there and did a tiny little dot inside of the iris there of the eye, and we are done with the little eyes. Now I'm going to touch up, once the orange already dried, I'm going to touch up the little stitching all around the nose, just making little X's all around the lines there. Okay, so while that dried already, now we're going to be working with the back of this one. So for this other side, I used my white linen chalk paint from Rust-Oleum, and I did about two good coats of it. First, I started off with the other paint, but I wasn't very happy, so I went over and grabbed my white paint instead from Rust-Oleum just to get a little bit better coverage. And we're putting that to dry. While that's drying, I'm working on the other scarecrow. We're gonna do the exact same thing, but this one is gonna be a girl scarecrow, so the hair is gonna be longer. So I put 3 strands on each side of this, and this is because this is going to have little pigtails. So here you see me braiding the raffia all the way down, making the first little pigtail. And once I was done, I tacked it down with a little bit of hot glue and just let it stay there. And I'm going to be working on a little, what do you call it? A little bow for that later on. All right, in the meantime, we're gonna do the other side, same way. 3 pieces of raffia, long pieces of raffia. This is also what I took off from the piece anyway, so I'm just reusing it. I tacked it down in next to each other, and the same thing we did on the other side. I am going to be braiding it the same way I did the other side. This was kind of fun. I really enjoyed this part. This was kind of the spur of the moment kind of thing. I'm like, you know what, I want this one to be a girl, and I just went over and figured, oh, pigtails will be cute. So that's what I went with, and did the same thing, tacked it down with a tiny little bit of hot glue, and we are done with that part of it. Now I am going to be painting the hat while that dries and gets ready. I used celery from Waverly, and I gave it only 1 coat of paint, and I made sure that it was painted properly in that little opening and the little hole there. And I did the sides there. I don't know exactly why, because I am putting down the Hello Pumpkin sign back down on that area, but I guess if you can see through it, it will be better to have the green show through there. So yeah, we went with that. And with this one, I took a little bit of black paint from folk art and just blended it in while the paint was still dry, was still wet. So I wanted to make sure that this had a little bit of also that strawy feel, that little for it to be distressed. So I figured the black will blend in and create a little, 3D effect. So once that was done, I went over and I apparently did more paint there, but I wanted to make sure that if the raffia didn't let the little sign be completely flat against those two little braids, that it wouldn't show a completely separate color. So that's why that's why I decided to go a little bit lower. Now we're gonna give this young lady some bangs. If you notice, these bangs are a little bit longer than the other scarecrow had, and there's a reason for that. We want these bangs to be more prominent, so it would look even cuter with the little pigtails we have for her there. Okay, just making sure that everything is flat. I don't want anything to be bumpy in this area, because remember, we will be putting back that Hello Pumpkin sign down. And I went over and I put them all down. It was not the best as far as the sizing between that the length of the bangs there, but hey, we do the best we can. I just reapplied the pumpkin sign on there again, the Hello Pumpkin sign, and there I am trying to even out the bangs for this young lady. Once I was happy with it, now we are going to paint her little face. Same process, windows for the eyes, arch windows for the eyes, little pestañas. I'm sorry, guys. I went on Spanish there. Anyway, I put a little bit of eyelashes on it, and same process with the nose, but I gave her a scribbly smile instead. And the stitching in both the nose and the mouth. So here we're doing the same thing. I again struggling with my paint pen, but I like how deep this black was, so I was I really wanted this to work. I thought maybe I had a little bit of paint or something was dried up in the tip of it, and that's why it was giving me a hard time. So I'm not sure what's going on here. So eventually I just dabbed it down until some of the ink went there. I said, you know what, this got to work out some way. So I don't know. But anyway, I moved on to my eyes, did the same thing, took a little bit of paint in the back of my paintbrush and put 2 little dots on the iris of the eye. Now here we are creating little ribbon bows for her pigtails. So what I did, I just had some scrap ribbon there. I just cut tiny strips off of it, took a piece of raffia, wrapped it around to cinch the bow right there. Gave it 2 tight knots on there, cut off the excess, and we are going to make sure that it lies as flat as we can, and that the raffia is flat in the back so it's able to glue properly onto the piece. So here you see me making sure that it's tight enough, cut off the excess, and we are going to glue it down to the bottom of her pigtail. This was last minute. I'm like, it will totally be so cute as a contrast with the red, and it will also complement the hat in the top. It was a perfect color, so I just had to go with that. So we're gonna do it again in case I went too fast on that one. We're just gonna cinch it to crisscross, cinch it in the middle, and tie a piece of raffia alongside. There we go. And here it is all completed. This is how this little lady ended up looking like. And the little gentleman as well. So that is our first side. Now we are going to be working on the back, which we are going to make snowman instead. So now I painted both sides of those and make sure that they dried. And here I need to embellish a little bit more these little scarecrows. I'm like, I need something on the hat. They're just too plain. So I took some leftover leaves from other DIYs and I just cut them into smaller leaves. I created 2 leaves for each hat, and I'm going to be using those little 2 of those little sunflowers that you see sitting on the hat right now. So this was pretty easy. I just folded it in half and cut it in the same angle that the leaf was. But I didn't want to embellish it quite yet because I needed these to sit flush on my table so I can work on the little not the scarecrows, the snowman. So I painted this with 2 coats of white paint, sanded it down, and now we're going to be working on the hats. So I painted the top part of the hats with my folk art black chalk paint. I just pretty much just did it by hand here. I didn't tape or anything. I figured it was such a small little area and I didn't want to, risk having tape either stay on my surface or take off my paint. So I just wanted to do it with minimal work. So I did that with both. Just cutting my crease there and filling in the blank. This paint is so good, guys. All you need is one coat. That's it. I just did 1 coat and it had best coverage. This is by far one of the best black chalk paints out there. Now it's time for the eyes. So I did this by using them as little teardrops. And again, I did the same mistake. Apparently I didn't learn from my first mistake. And I tried to erase it and nothing happened. So I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to work with what we have. And I did little teardrops, leaving the little tails in the top, and then I did a tiny little angle there for the eye or the iris of the eye. And I am going to go over this. Instead of using that paint pen, I will be using a very thin paintbrush and my folk art chalk paint to do my outlining of my pencil marks there. And I think this worked a lot better because the other one, to be quite honest, was working my nerves. So I did this with this. You just gotta have a very steady hand and use a paintbrush that is very thin so you can get nice coverage of your lines there. And then once I was done with that, I colored in black the biggest area inside the little teardrop there, and I left the little angle in the bottom blank because that's going to be the iris of the eye. And this was so satisfying to do, guys. I really enjoyed making these. It is amazing how slowly you're working on it, and right before your eyes, it's like the snowman comes up to life. It just comes up, so cute. So here as the eyes, just little itty bitty eyes, is so cute. Now here I am putting a tiny little bit of eyelashes on the sides there. And I love this paintbrush. It is so thin and precise. It was like the greatest. I think I got a set of these paintbrushes at Michael's on clearance. Yeah, on Michael on clearance sometime last year. So now it's time for the nose. So for the nose, I went back with my pencil and I just did like a little squiggly line in the shape of a carrot. And I just did one side. I left one side open and I just went around. And I was happy with my first attempt there. Besides the little tip, I'm like, let me make it a little bit more carroty by just giving it a longer tip. And then once I was satisfied there, I went over it with the same brush that I used for the eyes, but now it is all clean and it has my pumpkin color chalk paint from Waverly. I gave it 2 coats of paint just to make sure that it was covered properly. However, I did leave some of the pencil marks in there because it just gave it the illusion of actually being a carrot by having the little black marks there. Here we're gonna give it a crooked smile, just do a little regular smile, but one of the ends is a little bit longer, and another little piece underneath like a little half-shaped moon to make it like the effect of lips, so the mouth is open. I went over this with the same paintbrush I used for the entire face, but I cleaned it up and used now my black chalk paint from Rust-Oleum. I'm sorry, not Rust-Oleum, Folk Art. All right, so here we just going over it. I just wanted it to be a little bit thicker in that end there, so that's what we went with. Now here I just wanted to give it some eyebrows, so this is just some scribbly lines that I use for eyebrows. I just think it's just give it a little bit more human-like feel to the little face there. So that was that. In this section right here, just took some of this paint. I don't even remember where I got this paint. I think I got this paint, I don't even remember. I think this came with one of my daughter's actually art sets. So I used this pink color. I don't know what the name exactly is, but hopefully you can see it on the screen there. And I filled in the mouth part. I just love how this color just played together with it. So now I'm going to use the same color and I'm going to lightly get some paint on my fluffy brush. It's almost like a blush brush, and I'm going to use that to give my little snowman there some rosy cheeks. So I just dabbed it, very lightly in a circular motion there, just trying to create that rosy cheek effect, and it came out so cute. And I love the way that it plays together with the orange and the little mouth there as well. I am in love with these. I just, I never thought I could make little faces like that. This is actually my first attempt, and I am pretty pleased and proud of myself. So here I'm taking the same brush that I used to do their cheeks, and I'm putting a little bit of white on it, and I'm just dry brushing very lightly with some of my white Apple Barrel paint there, just to create the illusion of a snowy hat. I just went over the entire thing, and there I'm like, you know what, I want this to be more black, so I just went over a little bit of black there, and then I'm tracing the wording "Let It Snow" all across the thing there. So now I'm taking my flamingo red paint from Apple Barrel and the same tiny paintbrush, and I'm going to be tracing with that color on my pencil the words "Let It Snow." I gave this about 3 coats of this, like you can see it vibrant there, but once it dried a little bit translucent, and I did want it to be nice and red, like very, just like you see it in your face red there. So I actually went over this with 3 different coats, being very careful not to go over the lines, and with this paintbrush it wasn't that difficult, so I am very happy with how this turned out in this area. I did the same process with the other snowman. Here you see them all completed, and this is how the first one turned out. It just looks so cute. I'm so proud of these. I'm not sure which side is my favorite. I don't know what you guys think. Which one do you like the best? You like the snowman better, or do you like the scarecrows? All right, so here you see me burning off my little hangers. I just wanted the stragglies to go away, and now it's time to embellish these guys. So for the the scarecrows, what I did is, use the same things that I had prepared before. I took the 2 leaves and put them looking upward on each side, and glued my little sunflower right in the middle of them, just like that. Just a tiny little bit of hot glue. I just wanted to make sure that they didn't lay flat. I wanted them to be a 3D piece, so I made sure that they were able to lift. I only glued the bottom part, and then I made sure that it created that lifted effect. And I did the same thing with both sides, with both of the scarecrow, and then when you see on each side, they each have the flower on the opposite sides. And now we're gonna embellish this snowman. I think the snowman's might be my favorite, because I keep saying snowman. But anyhow, what I did is I took some of these leaves. I had this left over from a pick that I used for a DIY last year, and I'm just taking the leaves and creating smaller leaves from it. I like how this one is flocked, and it has that little effect with the white in the corners. So I just went over this and try to make it as similar as what it originally looked like as I could, and I did that to create 2 pieces of leaves that was small enough to be put at the hat there. Just gluing it with some little bit of hot glue and, you know, putting them together. These ones did show a little bit at the end, but I didn't really care. It's adorable the way they showed up. So these are little beads or little berries that fell off of another DIY, and I just used them for these. And look how cute the look on that. I really love this project. I was so happy. I was in my element when I was doing these. It was so relaxing. So I did the same thing with this one. First I was thinking I was using the other green piece, and I'm like, no, I like this white one. So I just used this little leftover white leaf from a different DIY and added some beads there. Here I added a different beads. I used some white ones, a red one, and some silver. And here we are with this one as well. Let me know, guys, which one is your favorite. I really love it. I wasn't ready to give up fall crafting just yet, so hey, here you go. Buy one, get one free. Guys, don't forget to let me know in your comments which one is your favorite. And if you like this type of videos, let me know as well. Or if you want to have more Christmas, hey, let me know, okay? I also got to 500 subscribers, so giveaway time. Find out how to enter at the end of the video. DIY number 2. So for these, I used 4 of these dry erase foam dies from the Dollar Tree, and I painted them with this white Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I gave them 2 full coats. Whilst those were drying, I worked on trying to get some wood pieces that will be best pumpkin stems. And once I found those, I took some leftover leaves that I found from a different DIY that I used. I just had leftover leaves, and I'm removing the little plastic piece from each one of them and making sure that there will be a good fit for the little stems that I'm creating there. And make sure to remove the little plastic pieces from the bottom of the leaves here to make sure that they will be falling flat when I'm ready to glue them. I did this with all 4, and I just wanted everything to be matching. And now I want to embellish this, so I'm using some of these white little sunflowers from the Dollar Tree. This is a leftover flowers from a different DIY, so this is the ones that I got these from. So all I did was remove 4 of the flowers from the bunch there. And in order to have these lay flat on my surface, what I did is I cut the little section where you connect the stem onto, so it will be flat in the back there. And I did this with all 4 of the sunflowers I'll be using for this project. Now I'm going to be working on wording for this project. So I took 2 of these letter packs from the Dollar Tree, and I needed the letters F-A-L-L to spell fall. So in order to get 2 L's, I needed to open up 2 packs. So here you see me getting those out. Once I finally got those out, I took antique wax from Waverly and stained my letters with it. While my letters were drying, I'm going to be working on completing the stems on here. So I took my leaves and added some hot glue, added the stem to the middle, and took my silicone spatula there to hold it in place until the hot glue dried. And then I took some more of my hot glue, added it to the back of my sunflower, and added that right against the wood stem and the flower right there. And I did the same process with all 3 of these. If you're enjoying this video so far, please be sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you like this type of content, and share with your friends as well. This helps YouTube know that I am doing a good job and shows my video to more viewers. Thank you so much for your support and for your time today. I want to report to my returning viewers that I finally learned my lesson and I got my little spatula to help me with the hot glue, and this is a major game changer. Now it's time to use these little fasteners so we can make these stems interchangeable. So what I did is I took these Velcro dots from the DollarTree. I removed them from the packaging, cut them in half so they will match against each other from the grabber side and the fluffy side. You know how Velcro works. Anyway, so I did that. I cut them into small sections, and I'm going to add each one of these to the back of the stems that I prepared on there. So what I did is I took off the plastic off of this one of the sides of it. I cut it off. I took my hot glue and added some hot glue to the bottom of the stem there, and I pressed down the sticky side of the Velcro dot to the bottom of my stem flowers on there. And I just left the plastic on there for now until I'm done completing this process for all 4 of my stems. So you see me doing it once more. I cut the excess plastic using my scissors, leaving only one sticky side open. I take my stem, add a little bit of hot glue to the bottom of the stem where the leaf is there, and added my sticky side of my dot of Velcro to the bottom there until it dried. And just make sure that you're doing it in a way that it doesn't create excess. So now I am going to work with the other side of this DIY, the Christmas portion of it. So I took these little Christmas trees from the DollarTree, and I'm going to also attach some of these little Velcro fasteners to the bottom of these as well, because we are going to be making these DIYs to be multi-purpose. So I also use these ornaments from the DollarTree. They're so cute. I got these actually this year. The trees I got from last year. So with this part, I'll be doing the same thing that I did for the stems there. I'm going to be cutting the pieces once they are already matched. And I'm going to be taking the plastic off of the sticky side like we did before, cutting the excess off, and taking the my hot glue and attaching some of my hot glue to the bottom of each ornament there, doing it to the tree first, adding the sticky side that doesn't have the plastic down to the hot glue. Oop, there, I burned myself. Ow! That one hurt a lot, but I had to get it in there, and then I took care of myself. But anyway, there I went ahead and stuck it in there. I'm leaving the plastic onto the other side so the sticky part doesn't get all dirty while I'm taking care of the other parts right there. So here you see me again, same thing. Remove the plastic off of one side only, cut off the clear film off of it, add my hot glue to the bottom of my ornament, and add the part that has the sticky side already open onto the ornament there. And this was the easy part, pretty much. But just, it's very important that the Velcro sides are all matching. Let's say if you have the fuzzy part of the Velcro towards the ornament, that you do that with every single ornament. So when you are interchanging the ornaments between each other, don't matter what position you put them, they will be able to attach onto the piece. You'll see what I mean when it's time to put these together. Now it's time to remove the hanger, so I just snipped it off the back of each of the snowmen there. And then we just have the little guys to work with. Now it's time to prep the lettering for the Christmas part of the DIY. So I'm using these letters from DollarTree as well, and I'm using my flamingo red paint to completely cover these letters. Now I am going to be adding Mod Podge to my entire dices, prepping them for the next step. Now we are getting ready to start embellishing our foam dice, and we're getting them ready to be attached as well. Now we are adding the pieces of Velcro that were left attached to each piece onto the top of our what do you call them, dices right there. You're probably thinking, why didn't I just add the glue and then put the piece down? I did not want the hot glue to get anywhere near the leaves or anything for it to attach to the piece. I just wanted to make sure that only the Velcro was attached there. And this is how it looked once the Velcro was attached and the pieces were put on the top. Now we're going to work on the other part. Christmas side. So this is me adding on the Noel word to the Christmas side. So what I did, I used a little bit of E6000 and a little bit of the hot glue and attached my letters right there in order. And now we are going to work on the fall word. We are doing it in the back side of the same letters. Make sure that your order is correct. And we are doing the same thing, adding some E6000 and some hot glue and attaching them to the middle of the circle there of the dice piece. And here is the Christmas part. And just for one quick rotation, there we go. Here's the Christmas side. Here's the fall side. And all you have to do is turn your piece around. DIY number 3. For this DIY, I'm using the bigger chunky pieces of wood that come from the Dollar Tree. And I am trying to create here something that's staggered. I am going for a pumpkin for fall and a Christmas tree look for Christmas. So here I'm just working with placement. I'm trying to find the best way to have my pieces sit flush. These pieces are all different sizes, so it's kind of hard. I took about 3 different packages of these chunky ones to find pieces that were similar to each other, that will be able to be sitting on top of each other, and the pumpkin or the Christmas tree to lay straight. So here I found the perfect placement, and here what I did was added some hot glue. I added E6000 in the middle and then hot glue in each of the other sides in order to have spacing in here. So for these I already had added the E6000. So now I'm adding the hot glue, and I'm making sure to put the tip of my hot glue gun in the little joint that was the inside of my area there. So this gives it a little bit more strength to the union there, because it's going to take a while for the E6000 to dry. So here I am adding some hot glue to help with that, and then we're going to be adding some to the inside as well. Just trying to create the best as I can as a circle on there, and the base that is big enough to hold the rest of the pieces that will be coming in the top. So once I did it the way that you saw earlier, what I did is I separated each piece and left it in the portions and the position they're supposed to go once I get them together, because I really didn't want to go through this whole Jenga process that I went through trying to figure out the best position for each piece in this whole Jenga thing. Throughout the process, I was just always making sure that my boards there, my little trunks, will stay in a circular position, because it's easy for them to shift as you move one. And if you see me there, I'm holding the pieces with each of my fingers, and then in between my fingers I will make sure the glue falls on there. Just be very careful with this part. It's easy to burn. Thank God I did not, but please do this with caution if you try to do this DIY. So here's a portion in which I totally forgot to put E6000. So I am adding E6000 to that and putting it together. And now I'm adding my hot glue in this side there to reinforce it so it will dry quicker and I can continue on working on this piece. I patiently waited for it to dry because I didn't want it to move. And once it was dry, then I went over in the inside part and I reinforced it with more hot glue, just filling in the gap on there to make sure that this had a tight bond that will last for a while. Then I carefully brought over the other section, making sure that I left each round in the position that I originally had put them on. And I'm adding the E6000 to the areas there that I need to be permanent. I did not want to work away from this before, and then once I put it on top of the other piece, it wouldn't sit right. So I'm just making sure that I'm working on top of the piece to make sure that each round is still even and this will be as straight as possible. So I worked on top of the other area I already glued, just to make sure that everything was correctly done. So now I am adding my E6000 to this part and my hot glue. I'm here, I'm working one by one. I don't want to lose my placement, so I figured this way it will be easier. So I'm just waiting for that to dry and reinforcing one time. Over here, I couldn't do like the other section because the ring there is a lot smaller and it will be harder for me to have the hot glue. So I'm adding the hot glue now towards the inside while it's like this. And also that hot glue will trickle down and attach the piece to the bottom piece as well. So it's kind of, you know, it's working at the dual way. You put in the glue on the sides, but it's also dripping down to create that bond with the bottom piece as well. Now it's time to carry over the third part of this section, and we are going to be using the same way. We have a lot less to work with, so we are going to just do the same thing we did before and do your E6000 in each side. Here we're trying to figure out exactly the angle, because if you see there's one piece of the round that is bigger than the others, but it goes into a specific place in the top over there. So I wanted to make sure that it also fell properly on there, and that we are adding the glue in the right spot. So here I'm making sure that I marked my section where the glue is supposed to go, because it's such a small space in between that is an easy margin for error. So I use a pencil to mark where to put my E6000, where the pieces touched each other, and I'm gluing them together. And now I'm going to be using my hot glue and just doing the same process of dripping down. But in this section I didn't want to put it on top, it was a little too high, and I want to make sure to, if I needed to rotate this piece, that I had the time and the way of doing so. So I didn't want to add this on here just in case I moved it around and then I ended up with a wonky piece. Now I'm creating the topper for my pumpkin part. So I took one of the larger rounds and a long piece of the little trunks there to mimic my stem for my pumpkin. And for my Christmas tree topper, I used 2 of these, so it gives it a more stretched out look that a Christmas tree has in opposed to a pumpkin. And I added a smaller one, and then I'm adding an extra one that will give it that height and what do you call the tree? Christmas tree look, I guess, to it. So I did that, waiting for the other pieces to dry. It should be dry now, and it should be able for me to move them. So it got stuck to the mat, so I'm just rotating it to unstuck it and stick it from there. And now everything is stuck. So now we are going to be doing, you see what I mean with the rotation on here? This is what I meant. I wanted to make sure that it was the right angle and that I had time to move things around. So now that I know where they're going to fall, I am going to attach my E6000 on there. They still don't have much of a bond, so I'm going to, put some more of the E6000 in different spots to ensure that that has the best bond possible. And in those areas that had more space in between, I am adding a big glob of hot glue to help level that, as well as giving it extra security. And I am going to be adding some hot glue to the bottom, so it also has a tiny bond as well there. And here I'm measuring both sides, if it looks like a Christmas tree or it looks like sort of like a pumpkin. And you guys let me know if I achieved the pumpkin look, or if I should adjust. I don't know how I've done this differently, but I enjoy these. I really like these. My daughter says that the board look like Christmas trees, but I don't know. You guys let me know. So here I am embellishing the pumpkin topper. I'm using some leftover leaves from other DIYs, just adding the to each side of my stem there, and I'm going to place one of these orange sunflowers or mums. I'm not sure which one those are, but I always get them mixed up. But anyway, I put it right in the middle to create this little topper, and that is my sort of kind of pumpkin. I think maybe if it was less small, maybe if it was like you call it more chotito, I don't know how to say it in English. If it was I don't know, more stubby, maybe it would look more like a pumpkin, but I don't know, I still think it looks like a pumpkin, just with a Christmas tree look to it. Now here I am working on the Christmas tree part of it. I was going back and forth between putting leaves or just putting a bow, so I went with a bow. So I took one of these buffalo check little bows that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I kept the little hanger that it came with, and I just twisted it around, because at this point I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep this, if I was going to do something different, so I didn't want anything permanent just yet. So I decided to keep it that way, and then later on also, as I use this, if I wanted different colors than buffalo check, I can always just undo the bow and put whatever else I want. So here I removed some of the berries that I had from that other pick that I used for the little snowman, and I attached it to the middle of my bow there, and I love how that came out. And this is the Christmas tree portion of it. And a Christmas tree is not a Christmas tree without some lights, right? So I took one of these lights from the Dollar Tree, the little tea light candles, and I placed it in the middle there. And my thing was that it's going to glow in between the pieces, and it did. It was pretty cute, and I think this will be great for the pumpkin, but I think for the Christmas tree we need a little bit more oomph to it. So I went over and got some of my berries there, and I just wrapped the berries on each section of each section there of this piece. I didn't glue it or anything. I didn't want to do that, just in case I wanted to change something later on. I just made sure that it was completely around the piece, and I tightened it as best as I could so it will be tight, and the pressure the tension there will just keep it on its place. So I did that in each section. I didn't want to just go around with one and just roll it around. I wanted each section to have its own part of beads. So I just kept doing that and tying off when it was tight enough, and then just kept going, twisting it harder and tighter so it will stay in place. Now it's time to try on the topper. So there goes with the other topper. We are going to do the same thing to the topper. I attach a little bit more of that little beaded garland to it as well. And just as you do with an equation, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I did the same thing to the Christmas part. I added some more of that garland. I didn't want to do it properly, so I removed the bow there so I was able to see better what I was doing. And here we go. Once I was done, I just reapplied the bow to the topper. And here we have our interchangeable toppers for each look. Here we go with the Christmas tree look, and then go also with our pumpkin look. But we're going to attach some more lights because this is just not bright enough. So I took some of these little copper wire lights from the Dollar Tree, and I just attached it to the 3 permanent parts of the little trees and pumpkin slash tree concoction I created here. And I just try to use the pressure from it and just rolled it around and then wrapped it around the entire side. I wanted the end to be at the bottom, so I started from the top and worked my way down. Once I was done, I took a tiny little dab of hot glue just to tack the piece of the wire in place securely so it will not unravel. I added some batteries to my battery pack on there, and I used this little screwdriver set from the Dollar Tree. It is a lifesaver when you're trying to get these little battery packs opened. And I just went over and opened it up and placed my batteries in and closed it back up. Now it's time to test out the lights, and this is how it looks without the lights, and here goes with the lights. This is adorable. I really love it. I hope you guys enjoy it too. And here it is during the daytime. And it is now time for the big reveal. We're here with the pumpkin. Tell me which one is your best, your favorite. And here we go with the one with the pumpkin. I think this one is my favorite. And here goes the Christmas tree. I hope you enjoy all these DIYs. They were made with a lot of love. They were a lot of fun to make. And don't forget, if you enjoy all these DIYs, if you enjoyed the video, if you found any kind of value here, let's make sure that you subscribe, you like, you comment, and you share. Help me grow so more people can enjoy my videos. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I hit 500 subscribers, guys. Thank you so much for all your love and your support. I will be putting in the description box below an email for you to send me the word 500 subscribers. The winner will be announced in the next video. And as always, stay lovely, be blessed, take care of yourselves, and have a lovely day. Thank you.